legends and gods. So, take your place at the campfire that has been glowing since your ancient ancestors' first myth was told, and listen to their tales. Take your part in the continuous chain of storytellers and story listeners that stretches simultaneously backwards and into the future as far as humanity can reach. Chapter 1. The Beginning and End of the World. Perhaps one of the very first questions that our ancestors across the globe sought to answer was an existential one. Where did we come from? It is a curiosity that has given rise to countless myths and inspired religions around the world. The legends about what might have happened on Earth's first dawn are as diverse and numerous as the civilisations and communities who conceived them. From the life-giving mollusk and soil of the Yoruba people in West Africa, to the rainbow serpent of many of Australia's First Nations, to the debate between the gods of grain and cattle that the ancient Mesopotamians retold, no two stories are quite the same. What is remarkable, however, is the fact that there are nonetheless many correlations between origin myths told by different civilizations that were separated by oceans and several thousand years. There is no conceivable way that their legends could have influenced one another, and yet miraculous similarities do exist in different societies' telling of the dawn of time. The parallels can be heard in the order in which the world came into existence. In the beginning, there was nothing. The world was in a dark, chaotic void with no life. The sky and the earth separated, and the very first light shone between them. From there, the barren land was filled with rivers, lakes, and vast oceans, which in turn brought grass, trees, and fruit. Next came the animals and beasts, and finally humanity was given life. The exact details vary between civilizations, but the same general sequence of events can be heard in the creation myths of the ancient Egyptians in 3000 BC, of the ancient Greeks as early as 1800 BC, of the Jewish and Christian book of Genesis from about 500 BC, of the Incas in Peru in the AD 1200s, of the Maori people in New Zealand also in the AD 1200s, of the Sioux people of Native America around AD 1300, and several others besides. Many belief systems speak of the beginning of time starting with nothing, from which earth and sky are among the very first basic elements to appear. After this often comes the creation of water, vegetation, and animals, as well as deities representing particular fundamentals important to each civilization. Entirely unrelated mythologies have a father sky and a mother earth, a male sun and female moon, a god of chaos and one bringing order. One god is responsible for the creation of humankind, often moulded from clay or mud, and gives us clothes, the ability to make fire, and teaches us laws, morals, and commandments. The Mayans, Greeks, Babylonians, Christians, and others tell of having a second go at creating humanity when the first lot contravened those societal rules, often using a mighty flood to get rid of the lawless. I suppose that when any of us have become philosophical and stripped the world back piece by piece to understand what there was at the beginning of it all, we have eventually been left with nothing but the land and the huge vault of the sky above it, from which all other things must come. Likewise, there is a commonality among divergent mythologies about eschatology, a term for the end of times. If the universe has come from nothing, humanity has theorized that it must return to nothing. Unfortunately for us all, the end of the world tends to be a much more violent and terrifying event than its birth. The ancient Indian story of the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 8, the Abrahamic traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and the Norse concept of Ragnarok, discussed next, are among the belief systems to foresee a destructive apocalypse, after which the final judgment will be made on humankind. As we delve into some of these stories, delight in their variety and be amazed by their similarities. Ragnarok, Norse. Norse mythology originates from Scandinavia and Iceland in northern Europe, and you possibly know more of their gods than you may think. Their legends were passed from one generation to the next for many hundreds of years, before being committed to writing from about the 13th century AD onwards. The Norse people had been making themselves very well acquainted.